Hello and welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another book review. Forgive my absence last week. And sometimes it's just challenging to do a video since I actually do them the day that I post them. I know a lot of people maybe record multiple videos or they record like weeks out, or whatever, but I'm not there yet. You would think so, since it's going to be almost a year that I've been doing this. But at any rate, I don't want to make it too cumbersome or get too complicated, with the risk of making it become work and me not enjoying it or feeling pressured. So I'm just going to continue at the pace that I've been. Hopefully I can catch up and start doing them again every week. But if not, just know when it does come, it will be very entertaining and informative. So 2 weeks ago, I did a video that I posted where I was standing at the bookshelf answering some questions. And one of the questions was the most recent book you purchased. And at the time, I said it was Feeding the Soul by Tabitha Brown. Excuse me. And I also mentioned that may be the next book I read. And it just so happens it was the next book that I picked up. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Feeding the Soul, because it's my business, by Tabitha Brown. Finding Our Way to Joy, Love, and Freedom. And like I mentioned, for those of you that saw the previous video, if you are not following Tabitha Brown on Instagram, you're doing yourself a disservice. The thing that I like about Tabitha Brown is, and as I'll talk about here in her book, I think the word authentic is thrown around a lot, or maybe used almost, as a cliche or just a buzzword or something. But she appears to legitimately be just who she appears to be on Instagram, and like her attitude and her personality, she just seems so positive. And even when she's not maybe feeling her best or things aren't going that well, if you've been following her for a while, she still comes from a place of honesty, and she even shares those stories, and she just provides a lot of daily inspiration and sunshine, which her book being yellow, that's like the perfect color, like I mentioned before. But I just really like her. It's just so much stuff going on in the world, and so many opportunities, especially on social media, for people to hide behind anonymity and usernames and their devices, by being just cruel and popping up in comments and just saying all kind of stuff. And she always chooses to take the high road. People have come for her publicly, and she has prayed for them, and legitimately is sincere when she says she hopes that they find what they are missing or what they need. Because a lot of times when people do that type of stuff, they have negative behavior, or they lash out at people, or they're just mean and catty or petty or whatever. It's because something is missing inside of them. So, and Tabitha, she talks about a lot of that and so much more in her book. I will say that the majority of books that I have read like this, so you have two types. This is a nonfiction book, right? So you have people that write memoirs, like autobiographies, and those stories are their own personal journeys, things that people maybe can relate to, but these things specifically happen to this person, right? Now, books like this, I feel like this is more of a hybrid. Like, even though it's dispersed with some personal anecdotes, and she talks about things that happened in her life, it reminds me of other books I've read, like something similar to Professional Troublemaker by Lovie Jones and Something More by Sarah Brathnack. And in those books, they also are providing information and inspiration based on lessons they've learned from their life. So you see, there's a difference. Hey, I'm just telling you my story, and how I got to where I am, versus let's take a pause. One time when I was in elementary school, this happened to me, and here are the 5 things that I've learned, and they kind of outline it. So this book is more like that. It is a book that is filled with lessons after short stories that she shares about her life. It's not like a true memoir where she's doing things in chronological order or telling you, from birth to current, like, how she got to where she is, but instead providing more, like tidbits. She has these things in here that she calls TSAs, Tabitha service announcements. But in the TSAs, she kind of recaps the chapter and gives you the nuggets from that chapter. So while I really enjoyed her book, and the whole time I'm like hearing her read it, because she has a very distinct dialect. If you follow her, that Southern charm and honey, that voice of hers. And she has some clever catchphrases like, very good, or because it's my business, and hello there. Those are some of the things that she says. So she does that a lot in here, and I was kind of reading it in her voice. But I will say that when you get to a certain age, a lot of the lessons or information that is shared, it's stuff that you already know. It's stuff that you've already heard. But each author that does books like this, I think they bring a different and unique perspective. So it's always refreshing reminders, if you will. It's always refreshing reminders of things that you've been told, things that you've been taught. Like I made some notes here, like be yourself and don't apologize for it. I mean, we've all heard that, but she takes a unique spin on it, and she talks about how that worked for her. Put yourself first, believe in yourself, setting boundaries. Everybody's journey is going to be different. Don't give up. It's filled with those type of nuggets and pieces of advice and different gems, again, that we have all heard before, but she's just putting her unique Tabitha Brown spin interspersed with stories from her own personal experiences. Something that I have found so interesting with the advent of technology, and especially social media, so many people have risen to fame and notoriety just from being on social media, and being themselves, or coming up with something funny or something that maybe they've always done or they've been wanting to, from just being themselves or sharing some type of talent or skill that they have, but they're putting it out there, and people are consuming it and liking it and commenting and engaging, and before you know it, things go viral, and you can launch a whole career if the right set of circumstances align for you on social media. And it is just amazing to me how that has worked for some people that have gotten so many accolades and so much notoriety. But I will say this, the majority of the people that has worked out for, I'm looking at people like, even Issa Rae, who started off doing little, I guess I want to say like YouTube videos or movies or whatever, with her Awkward Black Girl brand. And I think that may have been the name of the little show. She had a YouTube show. Then she gets a whole HBO deal from it for a series that has been on for 5 seasons, and it has allowed her to move in different spaces and get even more opportunities. And I know that between, okay, I got on Instagram, I got on YouTube, and I put this thing out there, to, okay, here I am now. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that took place in between. But just with these people and these influencers doing this, and Tabitha, make no mistake, she is definitely considered an influencer, a social media influencer. But I think it's just such a testament and an inspiration of what is possible if you are consistent, because that is the thing with all of these people have in common. Tabitha started off when she went on her, and she talks about it in her book, when she went on her journey to become vegan. she started doing videos, cooking food and different things. And she's not even a chef or a culinary expert. She was just trying to find different ways to make food taste different, by being someone who wasn't, who no longer eating any type of meat or dairy products. And people tuned in because that is a lifestyle that a lot of people are following. But she did it with humor and charisma, and she just brought a different element to it, and it helped get her in front of people that maybe would not have ever known her or seen her otherwise. So she talks about that journey as well in here. One of the things I underline here, she says, sometimes the very thing you do on a regular basis with no thought at all, you do it like you're breathing, will be the tool God will use to transform your life. And that it's pretty powerful. Like I said, that has happened to so many people. I mean, you can even go back to somebody like a Justin Bieber. He was playing drums and showing it, posting it on YouTube. I was listening to an interview with Trevor Noah on Kevin Hart's podcast, and he talked about how he, being from South Africa, he started sharing some of his routine on YouTube, while all the other South African comics were like, no, don't put your stuff on social media, somebody could steal it. But he knew that was the only way he would get in front of a much larger audience outside of South Africa. And Jon Stewart happened to see some of his stand-up or see some of his routine or whatever he was posting at the time, which led to a meeting, which fast forward like 5 or 6 years later, he's the host of The Daily Show. He took Jon Stewart's place. So like I said, social media, the power behind it. And I think we can choose to use it for good or for evil. It's a very time consuming thing. It's a very, it could be a very dark or negative place depending on who you're following, what you're posting, what you're looking at. But it can also be the thing that makes dreams come true. It could be the thing that helps you inspire other people and maybe help pull them from that darkness. So yeah, her book, I would totally recommend it. If you just need some reminders with a little humor and some anecdotes, thrown in, and maybe some stories of overcoming and how Tabitha did it. I'm sure anybody reading her book, you will probably find a story or find something in here where you can glean inspiration for your own personal situation. Feeding the Soul, Because It's My Business, Finding Our Way to Joy, Love, and Freedom by Tabitha Brown. And her book stayed on the New York Times bestseller list in her category for 4 weeks. So congratulations to Tabitha Brown for that. But yeah, definitely check out Feeding the Soul, Because It's My Business if you are looking for just a feel-good book. And make sure you go and follow her on Instagram. You won't regret it. That is all I have for today. If you have read Feeding the Soul, I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments, or if you have some book recommendations similar to this. And also make sure that you like this video and please subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you so much to everyone that has already subscribed and to everyone that takes time out of their day to leave a comment or a kind word. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.